Welcome back into the Connect the Game podcast. It's been a while, but appreciate you guys tuning back in for episode 7. I'm your host, Tim Crowley, joined by the Patriot League reporter today. This has been a long time in the making. Great to finally sit down with her. Paige Messier joins the show. Paige, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course. I'm so excited. We've talked a little bit on LinkedIn, so it's finally great to get some face-to-face conversation.
How was, I don't know if I can use the word summer vacation, but I guess in the spectrum of college athletics, how has this summer been and how needed has summer vacation been?
It's good. I jumped into this role in November, so it was right in the middle of all fall championships. So it's been nonstop since then. So having a summer off, it's pretty chill in the Patriot League office in the summer for me because no sports are going on, so there's not much to cover. We do some Patriot League summer check-ins with the athletes just to see what they're up to in the off season. There was on their Instagram, but other than that, it's been pretty slow for me, which has been a good little change.
Which is always a good time at this time of year. Obviously, this has been a really cool journey for you up to where you are now, but I know, like myself, this journey starts for you back in New England. You grew up in Rhode Island. How much of the area and the magnitude of what sports are in this area helped shape your upbringing and eventually what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, it was everything. When you look at, I'm a big football girl. I was born at the perfect time, 2002, to enjoy a really good Patriots team. I think they're going to be good again this year. My dad and I have been talking, and my dad's like, "This is the year they're coming back." So we'll see. But just being able to grow up in such a dynasty place in Boston where there's good sports pretty much every year. No matter what team you root for, the Celtics, Patriots, the Red Sox, Bruins, you're almost going to get a win every year if you look back at the years. So it was great just having that around. My dad also was a football coach, so being able to be around with him all the time, with the players, athletes, see how it brought everyone together. That was my biggest inspiration to get into sports. But then into college too, URI, it started growing again as somewhat of a basketball program, but big football school in the past few years, so that was also inspiring. And now being able to work in college athletics, it kind of all comes together. And I'm almost able to watch the Boston side as a little bit of a fan as of right now, which has been a good change in the past few years. But being able to grow up in Boston was, I mean, as you know, it means everything. It's hard to not love sports if you're from Boston.
There may be a potential question about the 25 Patriots at the end of this interview, but was there a moment for you? Again, I know, like you mentioned, how big football was in that upbringing. Was there like a Patriots moment for you that stood out? I'm sure a lot of people talk about like the 20-3 comeback, but was there a moment that really, watching a Patriots game growing up, said, "All right, this is why I love, tuning in every Sunday, and this is something I know I want to do in the future"?
I was gonna say 28-3 was a big one. Let me think of something in particular. I think this is probably not the typical answer, but I went to a football camp with my dad one time, and it was preseason, like the summer camps, and just being able to be there and just seeing everyone so excited. I brought a sign. I think that really stands out to me, just how important the Patriots and football are to the community. And in the summer, a lot of the time it's kids going down there because that's when they're off of school and it's free. So a lot of parents are able to bring their kids down there and just have fun and just being on the field and you have a close-up view of the Patriots and like your idols growing up really meant a lot to me growing up. And I also, with the Patriots, and I really saw this when I worked at Channel 12, they're very active in the community, which I really care about. I'm into this for the storytelling aspect. And of course, they're really great on the field, maybe not in the past few years, but they have a history of being really great and fun on the field, but also seeing what they do off the field with just different schools and different shelters. It warms your heart to see these athletes doing stuff that's not just impacting their team and themselves, but everyone around them. So I think that really stands out to me as well as a reporter, just seeing all those things that they do on their off time.
I'm sure parents certainly have the first day of training camp circled as a chance to just get the kids out of the
Right?
house that first day. Even when you're running down that hill towards the practice field at Gillette and it's 95 degrees. I know everyone still certainly enjoys that as well. One place to be in the summer that always has the nice breeze is actually somewhere you went to school at URI. Just thinking about your chance to go there, grow your career, what was the thought of wanting to go be a part of, everything that is Rhodey and get a chance to grow your career there?
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhere I definitely didn't expect myself to end up. We were talking about this before the podcast, but graduated in 2020, which was, a crazy year for the world. But for college students, it was pretty hectic because you're wondering, are we going to be on campus? Are we going to go to school? And I originally had Penn State circled at the top of my list. I was like, this is where I'm going. I decided. And I went down there, I signed my deposit, and then we weren't told if we moved in, we might not get our money back if we moved back home. And I was like, that's a lot of money to not get your money back.
Yeah.
So I was like, URI State School. My parents went there. My sister went there. I know it's a good option. I know I'm not going to fail there, but it's not exactly where I wanted to end up. But once I got there, I was like, let's make the most of this opportunity. I'm not going to transfer. If I start there, I'm going to stay there. And I ended up getting approached, not approached. I think I went up to Shane Donaldson. He is the SID, the communications person at URI, and he gave me so many opportunities. It started off with just stats, and then it changed into being on camera, and then from then on, I just fell in love with sports. It honestly wasn't something I was expecting to do either. I went in as a biology major, wanted to be a doctor. That obviously changed a little bit. I couldn't see blood, so I was like, all right, next step, sports. And I just fell in love with not only being on camera, but just the whole process of the preparation. It almost reminds me of being an athlete, honestly, like being on camera. There's the preparation, the practice, the competitiveness of getting the role. And I just fell in love with it right away. And URI is a great place to get those opportunities because it's a big school where the sports are pretty decent, but it's not like a Arizona where there's 1,000 kids trying to get this one role. I was pretty much the only woman in there at the time. There was a few other guys that were getting these opportunities, but it was very few of us, and it's grown since then, which is great. But it's a great place to get your feet wet and for you to mess up a little bit, get those opportunities, and maybe it's not perfect, but guess what? You're a student, and that's the point of you being there. So it was a great place to learn and just to get my feet wet, get as much experience as I could, and then eventually I work in college athletics now, so it's pretty similar. It's a similar role. You're with similar kind of ages athletes, so it was really good preparation for this role.
Doesn't that really just come down to the process of growing as a college broadcaster? If you don't have the story of the one game where, oh, I forgot a power strip, or oh, I can't figure out where a half hour before the game starts, I can't hear myself in my headset. Oh, well, I had the board muted. I probably should have checked that. Like that's all part of the process. And I love that you talked about the first part of that of going from stats to doing on camera. It feels like in college athletics, there's no better place to learn how much goes into sports. And it's not just, all right, show up, get a microphone, step in front of the camera and go. Like you of all people understand the process of how much goes on behind that. And there's good days, there's bad days, but it's all part of the growing process and that's part of the story of your career.
Yeah, I mean, I think I used to be that person that didn't really know what was behind the scenes. And I was like, I can just go on camera and I can ace it. And you don't realize what it's like to be live until you're live. And then you're like, wait, why did I just forget everything that I was about to say? Like, I literally just, I have no idea what to say. And I went through all of that. I went through first doing stats and first of all, not liking it, so not enjoying it too much. But second, it not being super easy and messing up sometimes and having people being like, you got to get that. Like, you're messing up the entire game now with the stats. So going through that, but then also the on-camera mess ups too, and also the negative comments and the Instagram posts and the tweets about you and the blog post saying that you have the personality of a houseplant, which
Oh
this
my
is
gosh.
very specific,
Whoa.
but also was my Instagram caption for a year because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get out of this. And that's when I started my whole sports Instagram to kind of add personality to myself. So going through the whole process of messing up, getting negative comments, I think that's so crucial because in this industry, that's not going away. Like you can be a 25-year season pro and you're gonna mess up on camera. Like it's just gonna happen, and you have to learn how to let go of it, like let it go in one out year. Learn about it because it all can be constructive. Like even though it's not sometimes said the nicest way, you can take it and be like, well, maybe that means I don't have enough personality on air, and that's actually good to know. So then you learn and you get more personality. So my dad really helped me through that too. Just like he has really thick skin. I grew up with thicker skin out of my siblings, but I still get affected by things sometimes. But just learning how to let it slip off your back. And my boyfriend says the same thing nowadays. He's like during the broadcast, he'll see me mess up and he'll be like, just let it go. Like next hit. And I just think that having those people that support you, just get through it is the key. But you're gonna mess up, just move on. Like it can turn into five mess ups if you don't move on. So I think getting through that process of just, you know, not being 100% seasoned is why you do internships, is why you have these roles in, I'm trying to think of a random place, in Kansas for your first job, where not you don't have a million viewers is what's so important, is so that you can really get those reps, and not have the whole world see them. So I think that that's crucial.
I love that that's the mindset you've taken from this because that was something that I think I still got used to because we didn't really have like comment boards on our college broadcast. I wasn't really reading a lot of comments on college stuff. It was only when I got to Nesson and you're at, a higher volume place like that and more attention, more eyes are on you that, you see some of the comments. It's like, how did these people have time to like sit down and think about this? But
Some of them are
it,
creative. I'm like,
oh yeah.
honestly, kudos to you for thinking of that because that took a lot of brain power. So you're gonna get them, and I'm just honestly, you just gotta have fun with them sometimes. Like I read them and I'm like, that was a good one. Like I'm
There's
not
always
gonna
ones
lie,
you
that
have
was
to
kind of
retweet.
funny.
Like
Right?
I'll like take screenshots or like if there's the one rare positive one, like that's going up. I mean, there were
Hmm.
people that told me like my first year at Destin, someone wrote like, "Oh, like I'm happy my grandmother, was like away from everything. She was a 60-year English teacher. I'm happy she doesn't have the internet, so she doesn't have to read the sorry excuse for journalism." It's like,
Oh my.
all right, dude. Like I can, but like those are the ones that you kind of like. All right, you pocket those, and it's like you look up in a few
Yeah,
years, and it's like, all right, and this is where you go. Mind you, maybe this isn't like this everywhere. This is New England. This is Boston. This is part of it.
they're
But that's
passionate.
yeah, and this is part of your story because then obviously you get to go, with WPRI Channel 12, be right in the thick of that market as well, be here in New England talking about these teams. How valuable is that? And I know you weren't always doing sports, but it was a very big part of your development. How important was that, and especially to do that in this market as well?
Yeah, I mean my work at Channel 12 was I don't even know how to describe it. I would say so beneficial, but very chaotic. Like I started that job as a weekend desk person. It was Wednesday to Monday working horrible hours,
Yep.
working the whole every holiday, every weekend. And I was 21, just out of because I graduated at 20. So I was 21, having no weekends, which I am so thankful for it now because it got me to where I am. But it was a lot, and it was a lot of negative stuff, like crime, horrible things that like I don't want to hear about. Like I know they happen, but it's like ignorance is bliss sometimes. Like I don't need to hear about every negative thing in Rhode Island. So I started off with that, and I also did digital content producing. So that was when I was on camera a little bit. It was all on camera website hits. So it was like the breaking news stuff, the things that like we wanted to get on the web right away. I would go and do like a quick 12 news now. So it was getting those on camera reps. And then they also sent me to some sports stuff because they're good down there. They knew I wanted to do sports and they were kind of throwing me a bone. I went to cover like the Army Navy luncheon and I met Coach Newberry and I have that connection even still now. I went to his office when I went down there just to say hello. Um, and that was super valuable, just being able to go to those events. So I was like, because sometimes you forget when you're not doing sports anymore and you're kind of doing a job you don't love. You're like, is this meant for me? Like, I really don't know if I like this anymore. But my dad would always remind me, like, this isn't what you want to do. Like, this is just a stepping stone to what you want to do. But going to those sporting events kind of reminded me, like, okay, like, I'm meant to do this. Like, this is my future. Like, I'll be doing this all the time. But for now, like, I need to do the work behind the scenes a little bit to get there. So, Channel 12 was great. It was good for just connections, like networking. I had great coworkers down there that I am best friends with today that I still talk to. And it's not to say I'll never go back to Channel 12. Who knows what the future holds, but it definitely got me this job today, just being able to get to those Patriots game and post on my sports page about it, or like just the little things. It's you don't really think about, but I wouldn't be here without that job, so I'm super grateful for it.
How special is that part too, to have the professional in at an outlet in an established area, but also being able to build your brand as well? Because obviously people now think of like the sports page when they hear that, and you can
Yeah.
kind of connect the dots a little bit. Like how important is that to you? Because it is obviously everything that you get to do in sports, and that was your place to build. But I also really like how you were able to blend every aspect of your life, whether it's your relationship, your faith, like that. I know how important that is to you from seeing your stuff for a few years. How special is it for you to build your brand and combine all those really important aspects of your life?
Yeah, it's I love it. So I started the sports page back in college. I think it might have been my last year of college. I think it was actually right out of college because I could not get a job. Like I was applying, you know the process, like
Yeah.
to 50 to 100 jobs. Like and I wasn't even getting responses. Not even like a you didn't get this role. Like I didn't get an interview, not a response. And I
Isn't
was
that
like,
the most annoying part? It's like, dude, I'd rather just get a no at this point. I mean,
right.
this is the second time, like, going through the cycle, the first since going through it out of school, but it's like, you're up to like 75, 80 applications. It's like, I just, any
Just tell
sort of
me.
like even no is helpful so I can just cross off, not have to think about it, and then keep going.
Exactly. It's a hard pro it's I always say applying to jobs is a full-time job. And
It
that's kind of
is.
where I was at that point. Like so I was waitressing and I was like, I still want to do sports. I don't want to waitress right now. Like I just want to I'm just doing it to make money, but I need to do sports. So then I created the sports page. So I was just like I made connections from my internships. A great one that I always talk about is Stacey James from the Patriots. He's a
Awesome
communications.
guy.
Oh, he is the best. I actually was just on the phone with him, just he was giving me advice. And I made a really, really great connection with him there. We went out to coffee just so I could pick his brain. And he's the best. And he was my first credential that I ever got was from him for the sports page. It was for Patriot training camp. And it was that summer after college. And from there, I was like, all right, like I might not get credentialed to games or like big events, but if I can at least go to these things, like get some quotes, like I can make posts about this. So then, sorry, my motorcycle's down there. So then I started doing this like little posts, like either from outside Gillette, inside Gillette, at URI games. I remember Shane gave me a credential as well. And just from there, just I started doing Providence College and I just started going to like Hall of Fame events. And from then on, I could actually use my Instagram as like, who are you working for? I'm like, the sports page. And it actually ended up working. And I was like, this is so fun. But I noticed I do have like a separate account for like a lot of my like personal life, but if I wanted to make a following, I want it to be people that were invested in me and like invested in my journey and that want to help me and like know who I am as a person. Because people don't just hire you for the list on your resume. They hire you to, and they talk to people that you have relationships with or old employers. They want to know who you are as a person and like what your beliefs are, and they want to make sure they're making the right investment. And also, just like the young woman following me, I want them to know like your job isn't everything. Like you have your job, but then you also have balance and you have, with me, my faith is huge. So I like to post about that. Just everyone should just be a well-rounded individual. And I promote balance. Like I just think that I love my job and I love sports and it's a grind for sure, but you have to also make space for God and you have to make space for your family and your relationship and all things. So I think that that's been super important to me just to preach that it's possible to do it all. Like it's possible to be a sports reporter as a woman, but also like and that's like more of a man's field, but then do pageants and or like do a Spartan race or just like go to Bible study. Like you can do all the things and that's what I try to promote on my Instagram. But it's been a great source to just like even when my career isn't going my way or life isn't going my way or whatever's going on, that's been a constant for me just to be able to have a space where I know the people following me either love me or love sports. And it's a place that I can just, like share my life and my content. And it has like 3,000 followers, but to me it's like like imagine 3,000 people like in an audience. Like that's a lot of people. So I try to just don't take it for granted. It's a fun space, but I also try to use it as like an inspiring space or like my Change in the Game series, which is more recent. It's used to like tell other people's stories because I am so inspired by other people. So I was like, if I can tell other people's stories, how great will that be? So it's just a huge space for a lot of different things, but it was created because I couldn't find a job. So everything happens for a reason, and you just got to make the most out of everything and create your own opportunities. And I think that's kind of what the sports page entails.
That I mean, that is literally why we're here on this podcast. This is to tell the stories of some really cool people that are coming up in media. And that's one thing I've enjoyed about seeing your stuff the last few years is you literally do everything. Like you mentioned, like the races, the pageants, you have a scholarship going at your high school and stuff like that. Like there's a little bit of everything that's been really cool to see. And I don't want to miss the Stacey shout out. Stacey James is for everybody like young in the industry. I don't know if there's a better like connection to have in the industry, especially around here, knowing how big the Patriots are, but there's nobody more friendly in the game than Stacey James. He wants to help young media people, and it's been really cool to see. And I appreciate you bringing him up. You
Oh, he's
mentioned
awesome.
it. You mentioned it a minute ago, and it was important to bring up at some point. There are a lot of probably young girls that look up to this page and see everything you get to do, whether pageants, like you mentioned, the Spartan race, and then everything you do in media. Do you feel that responsibility to try to be a role model for them? And were there people in that area that you looked up to, and whether it was on sideline or on play-by-play or in any form of media that you looked up to, saying, "Okay, I see her there. Now I know that there's a lane for me to go, and I want to build on what they started."
I mean, yeah, I think that to answer the first question, I do take it as a responsibility to like not just inspire younger people, but just represent women well. because there are, of course, there's a lot of women in the media nowadays. Like, and people sometimes think it's the majority, but it's definitely not. Like, I'm in rooms alone with men all the time, like being the only woman constantly. And on camera, it does seem like yeah, there's a ton of women in sports. But grand scheme, if you look at everybody, there's really not. And so when I am in those spaces, I just feel a responsibility to represent women well and be like, we're not just here for the aesthetic or just to, like a diversity hire. Like we're here because we're just as good and we can do the job. And I just also think that women bring something different to the table. Like I think I can invoke a lot of emotions out of the athletes and really get deep into their stories. And men can obviously do that too, but I think that that's something, a strength that I have. I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or because I'm Paige, but nevertheless, it's a thing. And so I do feel that responsibility. And with the sports page, I've gotten constant DMs and just messages, just asking about my journey or asking just small advice. And I try to respond to all of them. And there's not like that many, but some go to requests. And I look at it like 6 months later. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, should have responded to that. But I'm so blessed that I'm in a space now where I have the ability to inspire people and I'm not even half to where I want to be. Like that's kind of the best part for me is people are already looking up to me, and I'm like, I'm not even where I want to be yet. So I can help you to some point, but I'm still figuring it out myself. And I have a lot of people that I ask questions to, and I sometimes I send the people that ask me questions to those people because I'm like, I don't know yet. Like I don't. I'm first step. So that's really great. Looking up to people, me personally. I didn't know I wanted to get into sports media until an older age. Like I was 18 or 19. I'm only 22 now. So I would say like the basics, like Elisa Salters, I always really looked up to because of her journey from news to sports and her storytelling ability. Someone that always pops up is like I don't want to say basic, but huge reporter, Erin Andrews, Krista Thompson.
Yeah,
I think
recently
they do a
extended
really
too, well deserved on their
well deserved,
contracts.
right? But they more inspire me as a what they've been able to do kind of off field too. Like they've created their own brands or they've created their own podcasts. And I think that that's so great to do stuff off the field and create a brand for yourself. Like I feel like Erin Andrews is like a brand at this point. Like everyone knows her. She's a
100%.
household name. And I think that that's really cool. But something that I've tried to do is just not compare myself at all. Like I always say comparison is the thief of joy. I know it's super basic, but it's so true, especially in this industry, because you can look at a million people and think that they're ahead of you or I don't know, doing better than you, but in reality, everyone's journey is different. And I'm sure you know that, like, everyone says that, like, everyone gets to the top in a different way, and everyone's top is different. Like, you don't know where someone's end goal is. Like, your starting line could be someone's end goal. So, comparison is really the thief of joy. So, throughout the process, I try to just take inspiration rather than comparison, if that makes sense. Like, I look at people's stories, I'm like, that's really cool that they worked that hard, but I'm gonna do my own thing. And go my own way. And that's really helped me just be, I never want to be content, but be somewhat content in where I am because I try to think I'm 22, I have a good job, like I'm happy, I can balance my life. And it's not where I want to be, like end goal, but like you really have to enjoy the journey, and your journey is your journey. And if you start looking at everyone else's, it can start to get a little cloudy. You're like, wait, what do I actually want? Like, is it that? Is it that? So that's why I post on my Instagram, and I always say it's inspiration, not comparison, when I post my changing the game content of other people's stories. Because if you look through my changing the game series, everyone, you got the same job twice, but their journey and advice to get there is completely different. So it's really about how you go about it, and everyone gets to their end goal a different way. So I do look up to people, but I do think it's really important to sometimes put on your blinders and just focus on what you're doing because it can get very loud if you start looking everywhere else.
That is a fantastic way to look at that, and I know that's something that I think I struggled with early on. Is you get into an industry like this, especially in a big market, and it's tough because you see people that have been in here 20 years, and you watch big scoops happen if you're a writer or a great call on play-by-play, and it's like, all right, yeah, I want to get there. Like, oh, I could, you want to get there, but it's like, all right, they're also there because they've put the work in. They've been here 25 years and they've worked their way there. Like you're just getting started. You're 2 years in. So I think that perspective's huge. And everything we just talked about obviously got you to where you are now. League reporters, I think, is very interesting because at least from my end, I feel like they're never like posted jobs or it's never like the first thing you see on LinkedIn. But what you can get out of it at this stage of your career seems monumental. And it seems like you've done that with the Patriot League. How did that opportunity come up and what have you loved about this so far?
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about, I'm very faithful, so I think that I mean, God's plan is perfect. And I, for a long time, was like really questioning, like, what am I doing? Like you said, I'm applying, I'm not getting any responses. Like, I'm not happy where I am, but like, I can't move. Like, what do I do? And I can't give it to anyone else but God. So I applied to the American Conference job in Dallas. And I'm not sure how I figured out about that job. I knew the person that was there was leaving. So I was like, let me contact, see what's
Mm,
going on. And then they were like, the job's open here, you can apply. So I applied, and then I got a phone call, didn't get it, but they were like, "We love your personality. Like, we're gonna like keep your name in mind, not just for us, but just like keep like stay posted." So like in my head, I was like, "Well, someone just left a job because someone's going to that job." So, but I didn't know who. And then I got an email from the person who had this job. Her name's Maria Travel Piece, who I'm still friends with now, and my boss now, Jimmy Johnson. And they just told me that the job was open. They were just like, if you want to apply, we've seen your Instagram. We really like it. Like, just apply. And I think they know this. I think I've said it. I was very hesitant to apply. Like, I was talking to my mom, and I was like, I don't know if I want to work for a conference. Like, I've had this plan of like working local, regional, national, like my whole like sports career so far. So. I applied. I was like, what the heck? Like, let me just apply. So I did. It took a few weeks. Maybe I was first, maybe I was second person to get offered the job. I have no idea, but I was offered the job eventually. And again, when I got it, I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do. And then I took it and I moved to Bethlehem. It was all like a 2 week thing. Like by the time I got the notification of the job from my email and then got here was 2 weeks. Like it was very quick. But I was just praying about it. I was like, if it's for me, let me love it. If it's not for me, tell me quick and we'll make our decision. And it's just been such a blessing. Like I love it more than I thought I would. The area is super cute. It's Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's just like a very like family kind of area. And it has so many opportunities. Like the past two people who had it, Maria Travel Piece and Morgan Uber. Morgan's now at ESPN. Maria's at American. When accepting the job, I just looked at them and I was like, these are jobs that I want one day. Like ESPN reporter, American reporter, like and the people that had this job are now there. So it's obviously a good place to start. So I came here and it's just full of opportunities if you work hard. Like you get to meet people from all these colleges across New England and prestigious colleges. Like Patriot League is known for their academics, which means that there's very successful people that both come from these colleges and work there. So I've met the WNBA commissioner at a Lehigh game. I met, the Army Navy coaches who like those are pretty big schools right now with football and stuff like that. And I've gotten CBS games. That's not like a given, but it's something that my boss kind of fought for me for, and that's important too, having people that fight for you, like in your industry. And they got me those sideline gigs, which is super cool. I'm doing Lehigh football this fall, and hopefully some more CBS gigs. So if you're willing to work the extra time and sometimes maybe do things for free, but I never say free because it's always experience, but just when you're willing to do that, I was able to go to Idaho with the football team, and I was literally there to do like behind the scenes like video. Like I wasn't on camera once. I did all video stuff, but I was like, trip to Idaho? Like I've never been there. Let's go. Like I'm getting paid. So it was just so great. Like this job has been such a blessing. It's been a learning curve. I've learned that I'm not as maybe seasoned as I thought I was in the beginning, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I wasn't probably the top-notch reporter, but you learn so much when you're thrown into everything. I was like the color commentary for field hockey. And I was like, I've actually never watched a field hockey
Isn't
game
that
in my
hard to
entire
learn?
life.
Like I got
It was
thrown
hard to
into
learn.
that junior year and
It's
there were
kind
still
of similar to
plays.
soccer in a way.
Yeah,
It's
like
it's like
so many
similar.
too many whistles though. Like that was my thing was it having grown with it, I have more respect for it, I think now. But there were so many times where there'd be like five whistles on like a 20-second spin. I would just talk over them because I'm like, I'm not going to try to guess what this is and say
No, 'cause
something
I don't want to
wrong.
be
We're just going
wrong.
to keep talking, and when either somebody scores or there's a corner, we'll call it out. Otherwise, let's talk players and we'll go
Yeah,
from there.
that was what and my boss actually just talked to him. I'm in more of like a sideline role in the booth, if
Okay.
that makes sense. It's just a lot of storytelling. But yeah, this I'm so blessed to have this opportunity. It's a great first step. Like you said, it's like there's only so many conferences in the country. So it's almost an exclusive job to have like a D1 conference reporter job. Like there's not many opportunities that come up like that. And like you said, they're not on LinkedIn. Like you kind of have to either know someone or have someone representing you or and I don't have an agent or anything. So just getting the opportunity, I say it's just God and it's been such a blessing. Like I've enjoyed every second of it. It's been busy, but it's been really great. And my commissioner, Jen Heppel, is just the most amazing boss commissioner I've ever worked with. She's very pro balance too, but she also works super hard and it's like almost like a family in there. Everyone's super close. I go to them for advice with my life and with my work. So they welcome me with open arms and it's just so great to work for them. And to work for a conference you almost feel like you're in like an exclusive position
Yeah.
because everything that goes on, like you're working with the team, you're never against them. So you get a lot of access. You get to go to all the events. You're everywhere for the conference. And to be, I don't want to call myself like the face of it, but like to be the face of the social media has been like so cool to me. And to be able to represent a league that in today's college world, to me, is doing sports the right way is great. And I just love it.
That is such a big part of it. Is this is an era of college storytelling that is very, very different from even 5, 10 years ago. And getting to tell those stories now of those athletes is very cool. And of course, it helps when you get to be 22 and pick up an ESPN mic flag or a CBS Sports mic flag like that. That certainly
Pretty
makes
cool.
it different. That makes a difference as well.
Yeah.
Whether it's one of your weekly hits for like the league awards or getting ready for a broadcast for a championship round. What's the prep process like for you going on air in either of those roles and getting ready for the week and making sure that, when the red light goes on, you're ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I've learned a lot throughout this year in particular because usually like in college, I was staying with one team or one sport for the season. Like that's so I knew the athletes, I knew the coaches, I knew the messages and the team mantra, and it was easy because I was there. So like I was friends with half the players. So being here, like learning all the schools and all the players and it being different every week and the sport being different every week, it's a lot of prep. And with sideline, it's slightly different than what you would do with like color commentary or play by play because I'm focused on storylines always. Like I have 10 to 12 storylines. We have coaches calls, so I get that's been game changing. And in college, I didn't have that. So to have the coaches calls where I get to ask coaches anything I want, get that information that nobody else has, and it's just me and my play by play in color. It's nobody else. So to get that exclusive information is the biggest thing with prep is that's a majority. Like 50% of what I get is all from that. And then there's the additional like looking up the little things and something maybe that's like people don't know about the school or the area or where the athlete's from or just those little things. And play by play is a long list of all the names and their stats and their, you know.
Yeah.
But sideline is a lot about just storylines and asking questions that maybe you'll have a set of questions. Like I do questions and I'll write like if let's say it's Navy and Army in lacrosse. I'll say like at halftime, if Navy is up and Army is down, here's a set of questions I can do. If it's the other way, a set of questions. But then on the spot, if something happens in the game where I'm like, well, I have to ask about that, that all goes out the window. Like so some of your prep sometimes can be completely not used throughout a whole week. So you just have to have the extra just in case. But a lot of times I find with sideline is you kind of come up with stuff on the spot. Like a lot of it is just leaning back on your knowledge that you have from the research, but being able to come up with something brand new if something happens in the game. So that's kind of what my prep has been like. And then for the in-studio hits, I am blessed. Jimmy, my boss, loves to write scripts. So when I came in, he was like, I will like do the base of all of your scripts. You just like tweak them and all that. So he does a lot of that stuff. I honestly like writing. I would do it, but he likes to do it too. So I'm like, Jimmy, all you. But I just kind of put my page touch on it sometimes, or help out. I'll write some if he's really busy, but he's been great with me. He's super supportive. He's always taking pictures of me when I'm on the CPS broadcast. So he's great and he's such a hard worker. So he a lot of the times takes a lot of the stress off of me. If there's too much work to do, he'll be like, I'll jump on it, even though he's my boss, and he'll kind of do all of that. But the in studio hits are I have a teleprompter, so it's pretty easy that way. But just the constant prep of being on camera, like you have that's kind of an art to be able to articulate the right way or put your face the right way or to say things correctly. So that preparation, it's just little things. Working on pronunciating your words correctly or articulating correctly. Um, I do this thing where I put the radio on and I'll like say a hit and like try to say it over the radio because when you're in stadium or all that, there's constant noise. So it's the behind the scenes, like that little stuff. It's almost like vocal lessons in a way. Um, but the in studio hits are pretty, it's teleprompter. So you don't have to prep too much, but he does a lot of that for me, Jimmy.
That is probably my favorite question I get to ask people when they come on here is everyone's prep process is different and there's a lot that goes into whether it's the 4 minute video on Instagram or a 3 hour broadcast, there's so much that goes into it. And I love hearing that and your process is really cool as well. I do have some rapid fire before we get you out of here, but one last one before we get there is you touched on eventually that or earlier that there are kids that ask you like, oh, like can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And you're like, hey, I'm not even where I want to be yet, but I can do what I can now. What is the goal? And you talked about a little bit of it, where your roots come from, of loving stuff you do on sideline and also being versatile enough to do everything. There's obviously your roots in football, but you've grown into doing everything at the Patriot League as well. Where is the future for Paige Messier?
Yeah, I think the future is A, wherever God puts me, but B, my goal is just to be a sideline reporter for a major network. So, and that's with football. Like NFL Network would be a dream. I don't even want to say a specific network because any of them would be such a blessing, but my dream is to be on the football sideline full time. My dream is to be on prime time and just be able to travel the country and while doing football. I think that would be so cool, and that's also allows me to kind of live anywhere too. If you're traveling all the time, you can kind of live anywhere. And my goal would be just to do that, but also just be happy throughout it all. Like I know it sounds so cliche, but you can get so wrapped up in work and work's always gonna be like this. Like you're gonna have good moments in work and bad moments in work. And I think through it all, I just wanna be content with where I am and have balance, have family, have all of it. And like I said, continue with my sports page. I one day, this is way out there, but I want to start like a business one day with like clothing. My sister and I like have some ideas with just like sports times faith and all that stuff. So there's a lot out there. And my goal is just to inspire people to do it all, like I said. There was this one girl, her name's Kelly. She's in the Navy. Well, yeah, she is in the Navy currently, but she went to the Naval Academy and I interviewed her for Changing the Game, and she said, like, you can do both. Like, I can be in the Navy and then she does pageants and do pageants or wear makeup with my high bun and be in the Navy. And that really just kind of changed my perspective about it all because that's what I think too. And I just think that it's useful for everyone to just not put yourself in a box. Like you can do all of the things. Like you don't have to just pick one. So my goal is just to put all of my life out there, like no matter where I end up, and just inspire people to take that first step, make the phone call to make that connection, go to the interview confidently, and just rely on God because through it all, He's got you. So I think that my goal is just to be happy and be on a NFL sideline because that would be such a dream.
Should be a fun journey to watch. A couple of rapid fire before we get you out of here. Could be football, could be any sport. Favorite sports movie?
Ooh, I would say, can I give two? I know it's rapid fire.
Yeah, we've had
All
people
right.
give like six. They totally break the rules. Two is way
Yeah.
more acceptable.
Number one, remember the Titans. It's
Nice.
just you
Nice.
can't beat it. But number two, Rudy, because I love a underdog story, and it's just so hard. At the end when they're carrying him, I cry every time. So remember the Titans and Rudy, must watch.
I think Rudy and Field of Dreams are the only two that like I can start to feel like either goosebumps or like tears or something. Like it's
Oh,
literally
yeah.
those two. But
Yeah.
Rudy especially. I'm sure this will probably be from Patriot League, but it could be something else as well. What's your favorite sports travel story? Especially now, like you go everywhere in this conference.
Sports travel story. Oh gosh. Favorite sports travel story. I think my most interesting one was Idaho. because that was just like Idaho is just very random, and it was just like so la like 2 days before was like, do you want to go to Idaho? And I was like, yes. So I think just being like I was with the team, like team bus, team hotel, like I was just kind of like super involved, and that was super fun. So I think that was maybe my favorite sports travel story. I'm trying to think of other ones. My feature trips are also just so cool. So I go school to school just to like make feature stories for CBS. And my trip to Annapolis was just like, if you've ever been to Naval Academy, it's just like you look around, you're like, this is majestic. Like so, so, so beautiful. So that was probably my favorite place to visit so far was Annapolis, which sounds kind of biased because I love all Patriot League schools, but it's a beautiful scenery and just to see all the people in uniform and it's just inspiring. It's just a good place to be and I love it.
When you're getting ready for a game or a show, we've had people come on here and be like they like silence better. Do you have, whether it's pregame music before a game or just like music while you're prepping, like what's going through the playlist to help you get ready for a broadcast?
I would agree with silence, honestly, but if I had to pick, I would say anything I love country. So like anything country, anything Chris Stapleton is
Very
like a
nice.
staple for me. Love
Lit
love him. And
Pun
it's just very
intended.
calm, literally. Yeah. But I love country. It just like slower country, it just calms me down, makes me like. But then when I'm really getting into it, like a Hardy, I don't know if you've ever heard of
Yep.
him. He's like rock country. When I'm getting like pumped up, it's Hardy. But
See,
anything else,
good choice.
country.
I was it's weird, like sports literally the only reason I got into country music ever because was so against it for years. Then it was, spending a summer on the Cape and understanding that like baseball and country music and like the sun just like all go together. Which just helps because otherwise I would not have been at Chris Stapleton 3 weeks ago at Gillette, and I'm very happy that I was. So I enjoy that pick as well.
Yeah.
Dream interview. Whether it's sideline, a podcast setting like this, who is your dream interview in sports?
Dream interview. Do you hear that motorcycle?
And now I did. I heard actually it was like the first rev I've heard the entire
Really?
interview.
Oh, that was aggressive. My dream interview. This is so basic and it's kind of like past his time, but like Tom Brady. Like I am just so fascinated by everything that he's accomplished and done. I haven't been keeping up with him recently, so if he's done anything recently that's not good, I don't condone. But
He's good for now. He's
okay, good.
good.
So, just him, I just like would love to talk about the dynasty, his experience, like the behind the scenes stuff of like what was really going on with everything. Like, I think that would be so cool. And you know what? Like, I'm gonna add on to that, Bill Belichick, because I know he's a bad interviewer. I think I could crack him out of it. Like, I think that I have this skill. I don't know what it is, but people just feel comfy with me. I feel like I could. No one can, but for some reason, I have the confidence. I'm like, if I was in a room with Bill Belichick, I would get a good interview, and probably not. But in my head, that's what I think.
I seriously think this is like the New England nerd in us because I thought the same thing for years of like growing up in high school. I would watch like, you're watching Patriots fifth quarter every week and you watch the press conference. And I remember sitting there before I was obviously in the media and just thinking like, these people don't know how to get an answer out of him. Like he's not going to answer. Like these are the questions you have to ask him. You have to ask him about a secondary seventh round pick from Rutgers or an X's and O's play. Like he's not going to answer what you want. Let me go in there one day and I'll show them. But now it's like, but then you get it and you understand like, all right, well these are the questions you kind of have to ask. This is where the storyline is. You were obviously at training camp. You said, do you have any Belichick stories from when you were out there for Channel 12?
I'm trying to think. I don't think I do. I was very able to ask questions, and that's why like I probably would not get. I didn't ask him a question, and I could have, and I didn't. I might have been a little stage fright. I was young at the time, but now I wish I could go back now because now I'm more confident and I would have asked a question. I don't think I have anything crazy. He was actually, and he wasn't ever really mean when I was in there to anybody, but he is a character. Like he would just come in, go say his thing, leave. It was never any drama or anything, just in and out.
The first of two Patriots games I covered, the only one of his during his tenure was the final year in 23. And if this had actually gone the way I thought it was about to, I'd be gone working in business. I would not be doing a sports podcast right now. I would not be still looking for a sports job. But it was the Wednesday practice going into the game. They beat Buffalo, in like a comeback. Like it was like Mac Jones, like one or maybe a couple comeback drives. And I remember being at the bottom of the steps to go up to the practice field and I was talking to a couple other reporters. I went to turn to get a roster from somebody, like turned it this way and was like inches from like elbowing him in the gut. Like Belichick walked by like on the phone, like oh not usually not a route that he would ever go to the field. And I like turned midway and froze. I'm like, if I made contact
That
with
would have been a
him, I
story.
would have dropped my credential. I'm out of here. But it's like horrifying because like of all people to like be like that close, it was like, whoa. Not in a sense of like, oh my gosh, it's like this is not a dude I want to like accidentally just like bump
You would
into.
not be happy with that.
No, well, especially when you're the rookie. I mean, I'd had my job for maybe 2.5 months at that point. Like
Yeah,
it's terrifying. But I appreciate that. Like I think that is the New England native. It's like, all right, we've watched enough of them for 20 years. Like someone
we
around
did.
here can crack him.
Yeah.
Final one. It is Patriots related. We talked about it right off the top. How many games are the Patriots winning in 2025?
Okay. I'm Team Vrabel, first of all. Like I support him for the last hire. I told everyone I made a TikTok about it. I was like, Mike Vrabel is gonna be the next Patriots head coach. And I literally predicted it from when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame for the
Hmm.
Patriots. Like I was like, this guy's coming back to New England. The way he's speaking, like he's not staying with the Titans. And call me crazy, 14.
Which is definitely probably a division title, probably a one seed in the conference. This is the thing. Like I may not beat you up there, but it is in a sense the AFC East is like it's Buffalo and Miami's coming back. The Jets are taking a step back if there's still room to take a step back. Like that's the biggest thing here is it's an easy schedule. The AFC, despite the fact that I feel like Kansas City keeps being here, like doesn't feel. And this is the thing. Maybe just watch the Patriots enough for years and you talk to them. You talk yourself into it more. I kept going at like 10 or 11, like maybe 11. I got yelled at Mac Jones' first year at college because I had them winning like 13 games and I got screamed at for
Did
that.
you?
But I appreciate that like yeah, it's not a challenging schedule.
14's crazy. I'm gonna stick with it though, because if it gets it, I'm gonna look back to this podcast and be like, I predicted this.
Oh yeah, no, when
But
when they're the one seed and hosting and getting a first round bye, we will absolutely tweet this. And
yeah,
that'll be the victory parade down Route 1.
yeah,
Uh
we'll go viral for sure. But yeah, how many did they win? Like three?
three, four, right?
Was it four?
4 and 13. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go lucky 10 more.
This is
14.
this is the thing is like because I keep listening to the national outlets and it's like oh well how it really is so hard to double them in total or go from four to whatever. But it's again you look at the roster, you look at the schedule. I'm like I
It's a
don't see
totally
it.
different team.
Yeah, I can't
Different
see why they
pieces.
can't win. They should be above 500. I'll go with that. I mean we talked about the Red Sox being 500 for years, and that's been my whole career so far, just talking about 500 baseball. But so maybe it's that. Just like, all right, get to 500. That's just the standard we're looking for. But we could be
Yeah,
here for
I always go crazy. I always say I'm very dramatic. So I'm like all or nothing. I'm saying 4 or 14. At least I didn't say
good
17.
Yes, good range. We could be here for 3 more hours talking about the season, but Paige, it's been so great to have you on. Your story is phenomenal, and can't wait to see what's ahead for you this season at the Patriot League once kids are back in school and athletes are ready to roll again. And your future is certainly a bright one. Thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me.